Continued meeting with Russia. Katie, this is your floor now.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Concha. Welcome, everyone. Either good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're from. I'm here in the United States, in Florida, specifically Orlando. And on behalf of the Applied AI Innovation Initiative, we are so excited to be presenting today about AI and evaluation with Dr. Concha Rashamana and myself, Ketty Dones. One last thing, a lot of you are also Ketty Dones in this Zoom. So if you want to take a second and revisit your name, you can change your name by clicking the three left dots on your screen and just pressing the rename option and make sure that you put your actual name. That way we can see your actual name and interact with you. On today's agenda, we'll be having a welcome. We're going to be talking about generative AI, the basics. We're going to dig into ethics, security, and accountability in AI prompting, prompting specifically for evaluation practices, and common Gen AI tools that you can use. We'll also go through final remarks and questions. So we do ask that if you have any questions, you can go ahead and pop them into the chat so that you don't forget them, but we will be discussing and answering questions at the end of this workshop. The Applied AI Innovation Team, we are so excited to be here today, and we're just going to talk a little bit about ourselves, what we do, and what we have been doing. Dr. Maritza Concha is an associate lecturer at the School of Public Administration here at the University of Central Florida. For the past 20 years, Dr. Concha has worked as an evaluator for local nonprofits serving Latina immigrants. She recently obtained a certificate in applied generative AI, specializing from Purdue University. Currently, she leads the Applied AI Innovation Initiative under the School of Public Administration, and she's focused on AI in educational and behavioral interventions. We also have Rasha Mana. She's a doctoral student. She holds two master's degrees from the University of Central Florida, one in public administration and another one in nonprofit management. She currently is pursuing a PhD in public affairs here at UCF, and she also recently obtained a certificate in applied generative AI specialization from Purdue University. She works as a graduate research associate at UCF School of Public Administration, where she also serves as the co-lead for the Applied AI Innovation Initiative. Ketty Dones. I am the program coordinator for the Innovation and Technical Assistance Program. I'm also a second-year graduate student pursuing a master's degree in public administration and nonprofit management. I'm actually graduating next Friday, so very excited, and a certificate in Hispanic serving healthcare professionals. I'm very passionate about my own communities, empowering them through education, mentorship, and capacity building. We also have the ideas team here with us. We have Ada Ocampo. Ada, thank you so much for your partnership and guidance throughout this process. Ada is a sociologist with a master's degree with distinction in development, planning, and management granted by the University of Wales, United Kingdom. She's worked in the United Nations systems since the 90s with UNICEF, UNDP, UNFPA, and IFAD in different countries of North and Latin America, Africa, and Asia. During her career, she's been mainly involved in evaluation capacity development and networking. She's lectured at various universities and authored several articles and publications. She was one of the founders of International Organization for Cooperation and Evaluation and of the Latin America Evaluation Network. Currently, Ala is a freelance consultant and the president of Ideas. She is fluent in Spanish and English, understands and reads French, Italian, and Portuguese. She's lived in Peru, Costa Rica, Guatemala, New York, Italy, the UK, and Thailand. She loves to travel, enjoys watching independent cinema, and loves music and dancing. Above all, she loves people, and she's here with us today. Ada, if you would like to say a few words.
Yes, thank you very, very much. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, colleagues. We are excited that you are joining for different parts of the world. But not only that, ideas members have joined, and also people that are linked to the University of Central Florida who has joined forces with ideas for this webinar today. IDEAS stands for International Development Evaluation Association. IDEAS is a global network that started in 2002, and it brings together professional evaluators from all over the world. On a volunteer basis, we have published, as of today, 6 books. We also do webinars, and we participate in several activities uh, to contribute to the global dialogue on evaluation and to professionalize the evaluation function. Um, Ideas is really proud to have joined forces this time with University of Central Florida, although this is our first joint activity. It's not the first time that we partner. 2 or 3 years ago, the University of Florida, under the leadership of Maritza, organized a global conference on evaluation, and we were invited also to participate there. Today, apart from the members of Ideas, I'm joined by the Vice President, Serge Eric, if you can raise your hand, Serge Eric Yaku, and the Treasurer, Mr. Peter Wichman, who are also with us, and they will be with you throughout this important webinar. Thank you very, very much to Maritza, Katie, and Rasha, who have kindly agreed to share the work that they are doing in artificial intelligence for evaluation. That it's a topic that really deserves. It's important for all members of Ideas and also the people linked to the university, because it's a very important topic in the agenda today. So I wish you a very good webinar. Thanks again to the University of Central Florida, Maritza, Katie, and Rasha, and to all the people that have joined from all over the world today. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ada. We are definitely grateful to be sharing the floor with you all today, with the Ideas members and our colleagues at the University of Central Florida. All right. And as if we didn't already have an icebreaker by changing our names, I have a bit of a better icebreaker. So, if AI measured your performance this morning, I know that it's afternoon or evening for some of you, but go back and think about how you felt this morning. How did you wake up? How you got up? How did you start your morning? Now, if AI were to measure that, what emoji would it give you? So go ahead and drop the emoji that you think AI would measure you this morning in the chat. Okay, we have some blushing faces. Surprise! Someone had a surprise this morning. Yes, I would say I was surprised too when I saw a bunch of Ketty Dones on the screen. Tired. Me too, Rasha. I woke up very late today. Angelic, I love that. Someone is feeling soft. They're ready for the day. Baby, aw, someone has a new baby to take care of. Someone's feeling fly. Wow, -10 degrees today. Oh,
Oh,
we need a sweater emoji. Angelic, okay, in your soft era. Wink. Someone's ready to find out what we're going to be talking about today. Oh, someone has a kind of sneezing face, tired. We have the cool emoji. All smiles around the room. Rockets. Yes, I like to think of the rockets as innovation. We're definitely going to be talking about that today. Some handshaking, collaboration. Anyone else? Oh, some heart emojis. I love that emoji. That one's my favorite. The face with the little hearts on the side. I still see some individuals coming up as Ketty Doan. So if you want to go ahead and double check your name, you can go ahead and check and change your name by renaming yourself if you click on the three dots on your picture. And that way, if you have any questions, we can address you by your name at the end of this presentation. Thank you. All right. Well, if no one else has any more emojis for how they felt this morning, we can go ahead and get started with our presentation. As I mentioned, if you have any questions, you can pop them in the chat and they'll be addressed at the end. Dr. Concha, take it away.
Thank you so much, Katy. So I'll tell you a little bit of a story on how we came up with this whole learning experience on artificial intelligence. So about a year and a half ago, we were, Rasha, Katy, and myself, we were doing some participatory action research with farm workers in rural areas of Florida, specifically in the area of Naples, North Naples, which is a town called Immokalee, Mayaca. It's very, very rural. And we wanted to do a study with farm workers to understand the effects of renters' outcomes after a disaster. One of the things that we have seen throughout through several years of experience I have on research and evaluation is that to be able to share findings, we need to make sure that we use culturally responsive and appropriate tools to disseminate the findings. And I figured that writing a report or doing a presentation of those findings may be a bit boring to reach out our target population. So I decided to do a graphic novel using Llama AI. And I'm going to be talking about different apps throughout the presentation. And there's going to be a slide at the end with all the apps that I'm mentioning. So you guys can take pictures or take notes on that. But this application, what it does is that it helps you summarize the story of renters' outcomes in a way that is graphically appealing, but also represents the audience that we were working on. So that was kind of like my little push in the world of AI. And then after that, I decided to learn more and enroll into certificates. And I have a project also with a county here in Orlando, Florida, to train nonprofits on the use of AI. So throughout all this time, I have trained more than, I will say, about 800 people at this point, or a little bit more than that, on how to use AI for different purposes, but it was more focused on AI for social good, so targeting nonprofits, and that includes also evaluators. So let's talk about basics of Gen AI. So we all know at this point, I think, that all of you have experience or have some sort of interaction with the most common LLM. What I'm saying, LLM is the large language model. And that is, ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Gemini, Copilot. And what they do is that they generate new information, and that new information can be in the form of text, in the form of images, music, codes, videos. So AI models, what they do, they analyze different types of data sets to identify patterns, relationships, and structures. So they produce new content, right? And the best way for me to show you what that means is through the use of an example which I really love and fell in love when I was doing this in person. I used Transformers, the actual toys. And this time around, since we're doing this through a webinar format, I'm gonna just play a 30-second clip on the Transformer. But the idea is for you guys to kind of like visualize that the robot will turn into a car or a truck and generating new content, right? So let's play this.
Wow, Wheeljack needs to fix that power steering. Sorry, I'm late. I was taking in a harmonious moment between a serene butterfly and an unruffled caterpillar. Such tranquility. Yo, oye, Papa, where you from? Cybertron. So where'd you get that accent? Accent? What accent? You know what I'm saying? I'm saying it's cool. Like, I was about to be like, yo, mira, papi, de donde eres? Pero I didn't want to assume that you speak Spanish too. Because then, right?
All right. So the idea for me to show this video is to relate how can you teach AI, right, to people that have no knowledge and no technical background. So this is a way if you're using any type of teaching strategy, you can relate to the transformers because they generate new content. It's the same idea of the transformer model. The large language models like ChatGPT, like Claude, they use transformer models. So there is that association. Now let's talk about more specifically on transformer models, right? So, like I said before, common examples are ChatGPT, Llama, Claude, all of them. And what they do is that they have revolutionized natural language processing. So it allows them to process text more effectively than prior architectures. And it's what we call right now the large language model. So it's something advanced, something that we all have experienced. But one of the things that I want to emphasize that we have been using AI for a long time. If you have a cell phone, Siri or Alexa from Amazon, we have been using this for a long time. So this is not something barely new, but again, this is something that it has been more accessible for people around the world. Now, diffusion models. Anyone remember those TVs from the 1980s, 1990s, in which I think it's called analog TV, in which when there was no signal, you kind of like moving the antennas to be able to get the signal. That's what the diffusion model is when it comes to creating images or videos. So that's another example if you're teaching this to an audience that don't understand what kind of, what diffusion models are, that's the idea. So I'm going to play, this is an 8-second video. By the way, I did this using Gemini version 3, which is just being released and is super powerful. So let me just play this. So the idea here, if you see it again, that it moves the antenna and then an image comes, right? And that's a dog. Please try again. Oh, what's that? Okay. But you see the idea. So the idea when we talk about diffusion models is that it starts with noise, and then the noise starts to be cleaning and cleaning and cleaning, and the noise is being removed in a step-by-step process until it generates an image. So if you talk to, let's say, ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini, and you want to create an image and you wonder how this image works, how is the brain of the large language model works, what they're using for creating images is diffusion models. So it starts with noises. So remember that TV from the 80s and ends up using, creating that image at the end. So some popular apps for this is the Firefly, DALL-E, Midjourney, Nano Banana, Google Studio. It's amazing. It's something that all of you should investigate a little bit more, but it's doing wonders these days. So now that we have talked about transformers models, which are the large language models, creating text, images, codes, and then diffusion models, which is for generating images or videos. Now let's talk a little bit more about how the brain of the large language model works. So I'm assuming that all of you, when you're writing or typing in the chatbot, in the ChatGPT text box, and you put like a prompt, right? You write a prompt, and then that will be your input. Then whatever input you write, whether it is something generating new text or image or video, it does a process of tokenization, sort of like dividing the phrases that you put into I will say, small pieces. So those small pieces will kind of identify a pattern, and then from that pattern will create an output or generate the new text or generate the new image. So that's the brain, how it works. And it may sound a little bit too technological for some of you. I work better with food. And when someone teaches me, very dry or technical concept with food, I will understand immediately. So I created a ceviche video to show you how the neurological brain of the large language model works. So let me just play this.
Making ceviche is a lot like understanding how generative AI works. First, you gather your ingredients, just like you gather your data. Fresh fish, lime juice, and spices are your inputs. In AI, these inputs are words and phrases. Next, you chop everything up, which is similar to tokenization. Each piece of fish and vegetable represents a token, breaking down complex information into digestible bits. This is where the magic happens. Just as the flavors meld together in the ceviche, tokens combine to create meaning in AI. Finally, you serve it up. The output. A delicious dish is ready to be enjoyed, just like the coherent text or images generated by AI. Both processes transform raw materials into something valuable, making complex ideas accessible and enjoyable. So whether you're whipping up ceviche or training on GenAI, it's all about the right ingredients and the perfect blend.
All right, so in this video, if you haven't noticed, this is an avatar. And we did this video through prompting, and we use VEED, which is a VEED. And Katie, if you can just start putting some of the apps in the chat. And like I said before, there's going to be a slide at the end with all the apps that we use in this presentation. But the idea is that we started with a ceviche, we ended up with a sushi. So don't ask me how that happened. In the world of AI, it tends to hallucinate and those things. Rasha will talk more about that. But the idea here is to show you how can we use videos generated by AI to transfer knowledge that is very technical into common language. So here we learn about tokenization and how neurological brain of the large language model works. All right, so that will be Rasha's turn on hallucinations.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Concha. So now that we've seen how generative AI creates different content, so almost like assembling ingredients into a final dish, like the ceviche video, let's pause a little bit and think about a key question here. So what could go wrong in that process? So when AI makes prediction, it does not really understand what it's saying. So sometimes it can create answers that are completely incorrect or even impossible. But the LLM or the AI present them in a way that it looks like it's 100% true. I like to call this the false idea of grandiosity. And these errors are called hallucinations in AI. So this is simply when AI just makes things up. So over the next few slides, we're going to look at some different real examples of these hallucinations so we can learn how to catch them and protect our evaluation work. So next slide, please. So here's a well-known example of hallucination. So someone asked ChatGPT, what is the world record for crossing the English Channel entirely on foot? So as you can see, the model gave a very confident and detailed answer. So includes a name, date, a time, but there's one major issue here. Let's stop for 1 second and think, what can be the issue here? Let's put in the chat, what can be the issue here? Let's see if someone can catch it. I see some laughing emojis. On foot, correct. So you can't really walk across the English Channel. It's impossible. So even though the response sounded precise and it sounded professional, the record it cited doesn't really exist. This is a perfect illustration of why would most always fact check AI generated content, especially when we're working in evaluation context where accuracy matters the most. Next slide, please. So it's not only text models that can generate hallucination, also image generating models can hallucinate too. Here's an example of an image prompt that we kept the same, but it kept changing characters, appearance, relationship. So for example, let's look at the first picture. The first picture was supposed to be in a comic book that we were creating. These are supposed to be roommates. And as you can tell, they're in kind of a compromising situation here with that hand over the leg. Then on the second picture, we can see distort faces. The kid looks like it's blended into to a dog. So and then the third image, we can see distorted extra fingers. It's also supposed to be the same characters as the second image, and as you can tell, they do not look the same. So whether we're generating dashboards, storytelling, text, visuals, client materials, we must always inspect everything with a human eye. So let's think about why do hallucinations really happen. So it comes down to how AI works at its core. Large language models or image models are really just predicting the next most likely word or the next most likely image, but it's based on patterns that they have learned from training data from other people. So they don't really have any reasoning. They don't really have any ethics filter. It's just based on probability. They don't really know what's true. They only know what could sound right from everything that they have learned over the training and what people have also input. So some of these models can invent academic citations. They predict, and the way it works is that they predict what scholarly reference should look like, not whether it exists. They have also done these with court records and other official documents. So if we treat AI generated content as completely correct without verification, we're going to end up spreading misinformation. That's why the human judgment still matter just as much. Next slide, please. So what do we do about this? So first, we can ask for references, especially when requesting facts or data. We can use LLMs that are backed up with real sources or with real databases. We can also cross-check. We can compare results across multiple and different AIs and different tools because different platforms use different models like ChatGPT versus Claude versus Perplexity. And third, we also need human verification. So does it make sense, what it has produced? Does it pass the common sense test? Especially in evaluation, when our work guides programs, it guides resource allocations, it guides funding and outcomes for real communities, we most treat AI as a tool and not as an authority. Next slide, please. So now we're going to transition into ethics because AI systems are not neutral. They learn from the data that humans can create, and us humans, we bring our own bias with us. So ethical frameworks like the Belmont Report can guide us with principles that such as respect for persons, no harm, and justice. So when we use AI in evaluation, we must ask, is this fair for everyone that's involved? Is the data being handled ethically? Can we explain how the tool, how the LLM, how the AI reach the results? Because ethical evaluation is just not about us collecting data, it's also about us protecting people. I can read some comments in the chat. It's also bad with presentations. That's correct. It can also create false idea, it generates false information. So let's talk about bias in AI. So bias in AI system, it's not hypothetical. It's already well documented. For example, we can ask an AI system, we can ask a ChatGPT, for example, to generate an image of a CEO. It will often, not all the times, but often it will default to a white man. That's not because AI intends to discriminate. Let's remember that AI does not have any ethical bias, any ethical filter. It's because it learns from biased history. So if we don't correct those patterns and if we do not ask AI to correct those patterns, it's just going to reinforce and even magnify inequities in our programs and community. That's why review, again, is essential, not just by one evaluator, but through collaborative oversight. That means through a diverse team that can check if what the AI is generating is actually truth and unbiased. Next, please. So security is another major concern when we're creating AI content, especially in human service organizations. For those who work in nonprofits or evaluation for nonprofits. So many AI systems can store input data, and that data can be exposed, can be hacked, or can be misused. Recently, we have seen a couple of news. OpenAI disclosed that a third party that they're linked to was able to hack some of our users, some of the users' information, like their emails, their names, their IP, their servers. So it's important that we never put personally identifiable or confidential information, not ours and not our clients, into tools like ChatGPT or different LLMs. Before using any system, we have to sanitize the data. So it's important to remove name, addresses, financial information, any health details. So anything that could identify an individual or organizations. So we cannot support our communities by putting their private information at risk. It's also important to mention not to include any social security numbers. And as much as possible, it's also a good recommendation to check to pay for the subscriptions as it includes another layer of security for your organizations and for your data. I see some questions in the chat. If maybe Katie, you can keep track of those and we'll answer them at the end. So finally, we're going to talk about accountability. If an AI tool makes a mistake, who carries that responsibility? If an AI tool generates a report and then nobody checks that report and that report goes public, so who's responsible for that in your organization? If a model influence in funding decisions or in any other decisions within your organization, who can explain why or how the AI made that decision? So just remember that AI is not a decision maker. It's just a support tool for your organization. It must be governed with transparency, with rules, with oversight. And if you decide to use AI in your organization, you should come up with a policy on AI use so that you can be transparent among your organization and also with the clients. So we must always be able to say who designed the system, what system we're using, who evaluated the risk of the content created with AI, who approved that decision. Those are all important to take into consideration when writing a policy. Because in evaluation, trust is foundational with our clients and with our stakeholders. If we lose that trust, we lose our ability to help communities and to improve the different programs. Now we're back to Dr. Concha.
Thank you, Rasha, for that great presentation. So now we're going to be talking about prompting, and there are different techniques that have been used when we talk about prompting. So prompting is the actual input, the text that you put into to communicate with the LLM, right? With ChatGPT, with Claude, with all of them. And the process of writing, something will get you some sort of results that hopefully those are the results that you're looking for. So why is this very important? In any field, including the evaluation field, if you don't know how to properly ask the question to an LLM, most likely you're not going to get the most out of it, right? And and like I said, there are different types of techniques going from one shot to few shots to chain of thought, and also capture prompting, which is the one that I'm going to be talking today, capture prompting. But why does it matter? It matters because well-crafted prompts can dramatically improve the quality, but also the usefulness of AI-generated content.
Sorry, you waiting here? You waiting in this slide?
Hold on, let me just mute. There you go. And one of the things that I also want to highlight when we talk about prompting is that there is not such a thing as a shortcut. The large language models and AI in general, it's mostly useful when you use it as a tool, right? Or that new assistant that is going to save you time for something that is a little bit repetitive, or will give you ideas on how to enhance your creativity, right? And your imagination. So think it always as that. Don't think about AI that is going to solve you the problem. Always think about AI as a tool or as an assistant, because AI will not be able to give you what you're looking for if you don't know what to ask, if you have no knowledge on a specific evaluation content that you're looking for. So the more that you know about the evaluation world, the better it is as well when we talk about doing proper prompting. So capture prompting. Capture prompting has different types of characteristics or traits. One of them is the context. Why do we need this output? The attitudes. Is there a sentiment that we're looking for, or a tone? Is it like a professional tone, informal tone? What are we looking for? The persona. Here you're going to tell the LLM to role play as someone. So as an expert in evaluation field, something like that, right? Or as an expert in data collection tools. Task, you are going to ask a specific, the outputs that you want to create. You have to use adjectives or adverbs. You have to be it has to be unique, but also specific. You also have to give them requirements. Like, I'm looking for a 2-page, 1-paragraph, 4 bullets. The more requirements that you give, it's better for the LLM to understand what you're looking for. And examples, you always need to look for examples. Like, if you go to the American Evaluation Association ideas, I'm sure that they have tons of guidelines or toolkits for evaluators that focus on international topics. So the more information and the more things that you have to provide the LLM as an example, the better it is. And I have a couple of examples on this. So this is just a very simple prompt, not using capture prompting. Please write 2 process evaluation questions, 2 outcome evaluation, and 2 impact questions for a program grounded in the understanding that arts participation can reduce stress and enhance creativity. So you can just copy that and try it on your own if you want to, or Katie can just copy that prompt and just try to see what it will come up on your end. But it's going to, and I'm going to have a slide that will show you the comparison between this simple prompt and the capture prompt. So this is just a very simple prompt example. Now, this is the same example, but using capture. You see, there's a lot of information here. So here we're telling the LLM, you are an experienced program evaluator. Remember, that's the persona from capture. Task with generating a comprehensive set of evaluation questions. That's your task for an arts-based youth program planned by the name of your organization in Miami-Dade County or whatever location you're working in. The program is grounded in the understanding that arts participation can reduce stress, enhance creativity, and support emotional well-being for youth who may be struggling socially, academic, or at home. That's the context. Your evaluation questions should align with En Familia's mission, that's the name of the organization, and reflect the unique needs of youth in South Miami-Dade. That's your uniqueness, the location, while also connecting to the goals and expectations outlined in the RFP, the request for proposal. You can even put that into the prompt, right? For arts and culture programming. The questions must address core components of a strong evaluation plan, including program implementation, participant engagement, outcomes related to creativity, stress reduction, skills building, community impact, cultural relevance, and organizational capacity. Include 2 process, 2 outcome, and 2 impact questions, all written in a professional tone. That's your attitude. Use the Kellogg logic model as an inspiration, similar to how example templates guide a structure in other run writing resources to ensure that the evaluation questions are clear, funder aligned, and actionable. You see the difference between the 2 prompts. And this is why the reason that there is no such a thing of a shortcuts when using AI. You do have to have the knowledge. If you don't have the knowledge, you wouldn't have been able to write such a details what you're looking for. So here is the outcomes or the outputs that came from the 2 different prompting styles. The first one is the process evaluation with a simple prompting. So you see that it is, kind of like how activities are delivered or planned. And then for the capture prompting, you have like to what extent were the planned art activities implemented with fidelity, including the use of cultural relevant practices grounded in En Familia's mission and community values. You see that it's more specific. Another example for the outcome evaluation. To what extent does participation in the program reduce participants' self-reported stress levels over time? That's for simple prompting. On the capture outcome evaluation, to what extent did participants in the art programs lead to measurable reductions in youth stress levels and improvements in emotional well-being? So it's sort of like giving you more information. There's another one on outcomes here. How does increased creativity and reduce stress influence youth, social relationships, academic engagement, or overall quality of life after the program ends? And with Capture, you have in what ways did the program enhance En Familia's long capacity to integrate art-based strategies to support youth development and align with the Smart Growth American Goals. That's the funder for Arts-Centered Community Change. So here you see more context. And I'm not saying the capture promptings are perfect. They still need to have some sort of refinement, but it's much better than the simple prompting that you see on the screen. And make sure that you put all the questions you have in the chat. Katie will ask those questions at the end. So now we're moving from evaluation questions to evaluation tools, right? Now I want to create a data collection tool to answer this question, and I'm using the simple prompt example. To what extent does participation in the program reduce participants' stress levels and increase their self-reported creativity over time? So I just, you can copy that prompt, paste it, and what the ChatGPT, for instance, outcome survey, what it will give you will give you something like this. What is one word that describes how your body or mind feels after today's activity? What is something you may try or imagine today that made you feel creative? Did anything help you feel calmer today? So it's very generic. It's not bad. It's very generic. So let's see the capture prompting now. Look at this, it's much more information here. But here you are, again, you want to give them a persona. You are an experienced program evaluator tasked with designing a youth-friendly evaluation data collection tool. That's your task. That measure the outcome, and then you put the question. The evaluation tool must reflect the program's context in which art engagement is used to reduce blah, blah, blah in the context of South Miami-Dade, who may face social, academic, or family challenges. That's the context. The tool should be tailored to En Familia's hard-to-reach farm worker youth. That's very unique. It must also be culturally and linguistically appropriate for high school farmers' youth. Those are the requirements. The tone and the structure should be informal because our target here are youth and can understand but also be respectful. And the tools should be modeled on best practices for youth-related tools. And I'm giving a website here on Youth Development Insights for creating ways to develop surveys for youth. So I'm giving an example. So you see that whole content in which you can copy this prompt and try it, but it has more information and gives you the context, the uniqueness and requirements, the attitudes, the example. So here is what it came up, and I'm going to go in to Gamma now. And Gamma is an app that I use most of the time to create graphically appealing documents. So what it did is that I copied the responses from ChatGPT on the capture prompting on how to create a youth creativity and confidence evaluation tool. So this is what it looks like. Let me just go. Warm up, creative check-in. Before we start, imagine you're describing yourself as an artist. Pick one. I'm learning new things. I like to create when I feel inspired. So that gives you like some sort of like a baseline, right? But it's creative. I'm just getting started. I'm confident and love to express myself. So that will give you some like base data. Quick and easy survey questions. So here, these questions are about your experience in the art program, and they can use, scale, but you can always, if it's difficult for the youth to understand the scales, you can always tweak it a little bit. But you have questions on creativity, on arts, artistic skill building, confidence and self-expression, all of that. And then choose one creative reflection. Pick one prompt and respond however you want. And then you can do like, color, doodle, emoji mix, few sentences, show or describe a moment in which the program make you feel proud, draw or write about how the program helped you express yourself, share one thing you can do now that in arts that you couldn't do before. So once again, it's giving you more in-depth and more information that will be more in alignment of what you will normally do in these type of situations. And optional sticker or emoji scale. How confident do you feel expressing yourself through art? And they can just circle whether it's a happy face, whether it's a thumbs up, or things like that. And even gave me administrator notes. Provide this in English or in Spanish. Time will be between 8 to 12 minutes. It could be, a paper. It could be like setting has to be casual, maybe supportive environment. Keep language simple and culturally relevant. So that's just an example of what you can do to transform the tool. That remember the 2 or 3 questions that we have with a simple prompt to this more sophisticated instrument. Now, once again, nothing is perfect. You have to always pilot test it, make any changes. If you want to make the Likert scale that this tool has to more open-ended, or make it more like a focus group interviews, that's up to you. This is just for your guidance to continue enhancing that creativity to allow you to come up with tools that are more appropriate. And let me just go to here. We're good. Okay, perfect. So the next example I have is the dashboard prompt. Now with AI, and I'm very sure that some of you may know this, you can create dashboards through prompting without having any knowledge on coding. And this could be done with different types of apps. You could use Replit, you could use Lovable, you can use Base 44, and even the last model of Gemini or Claude as well can do a very unique dashboards. So how I came up with this idea, I wanted to try or find a way of creating an application that will have different type of functionalities based on the purpose of this evaluation that I was doing with Planned Parenthood. So I wanted this dashboard to have like live updates. And so I uploaded the data without any identifier in a Google Excel sheet. And I connected that Google Excel sheet into the dashboard. And I gave this the following very simple information. That was my original prompt, and then I had to kind of like refine that back and forth. So capture prompting with doing dashboards may not be that useful, but you will have to know more about how you want your data visualization. And so what I did is like I wanted the Google Excel integration for ongoing updates. I want my youth programs and data, and then I named the names of the programs like TOP, Flash, Love Notes, Positive Prevention Plans. Those are the names of the programs that Planned Parenthood used for access to reproductive health. And also demographics and satisfactions for youth programs should be under the youth program and data. Then I also have the parents programs and data. I mentioned what programs should be under parents, and I also want to have the demographic and satisfaction dashboard for data analytics. Program staff training was another component, and the name of the program was include. I also wanted to include the demographic and satisfaction dashboard for data analytics. Then I said for steps 2, 3, and 4, data must be filtered by program name, facilitator name, and overall data findings. I also wanted the dashboard to be on a yearly based group. So it could be from 2024 to 2025, and then another dashboard or another year that will be grouped by 2025 and 2026. So that's how it started. It's not a perfect prompt, but it gave me enough information that I was able to create the app. So now I'm going to show you what it looks like, the final product. You guys, I think you guys are able to see my screen. Okay, perfect. So this is the dashboard overview. This first page, it will just give you the total number of data collected for youth demographics, youth satisfactions, parent demographics, parent satisfactions, and fidelity forms. But if you go here, it will give you the demographic forms, data analysis with some age statistics, age range, race distribution, gender distribution, employment status, and zip codes. And so that's the demographics. This is the satisfaction. And every time you update or put some information on the Google Sheet, it will automatically be reflected in this dashboard. So it will give you already all those graphs and information on safety. It is going to even do some content analysis as well. And obviously, I'm not saying that this is perfect. I do some random selection of some of the questions to make sure that I do my own analysis and ensure that the data is correct, and it is correct. And I did this in Replit. Replit uses Claude. Claude is it's very sophisticated and very much more accurate than ChatGPT or Gemini. So if you want to create a dashboard, make sure that you use Claude if you want that LLM, or if you use Replit, Replit uses Claude anyway. So here you can do like, let me just go because I have more information here. So you can do filters. If I just want the program name Flash, it will give me the information on Flash, right? If I just want to pick a facilitator, it will be giving me the demographic for the youth satisfaction for the facilitator. Last name is Jimenez. I can do age range. I can do race, ethnicity. I can do gender, employment status. The different types of information is really endlessness. You can also do facilitator rankings. Let me just put all facilitators, and you can see all facilitators ranked. And this is very helpful because if you're using process evaluation as well, you want to know who is on top, what the facilitators are doing, right? To make sure that you make improvements or share best practices with the rest of the team. That's another way for you to measure that. This is the parents, it's the same thing. You can ask Replit to create a tab that you'll be able to download the infographic. You can generate a PDF report. You can download all the charts. So you can do many things as well. It's the same concept for here, for the demographics and the satisfactions as well. So you see all of that, and then you see the actual quotes. And then the fidelity forms are here, which is the curriculum fidelity for some of the programs that we did. So this is very, very helpful and it's impactful. You have, before, you probably have to pay a lot of money to do this type of dashboards. At this moment, I will say using Replit, it's a little bit expensive just to be able to pilot test, design, and make sure that this works. It took me about 2 weeks to get this done. So it's not something that you write the first prompt and you're going to get all of this. You have to pilot test it. You have to talk to the LLM. You have to know how you want your data visualized. This is one of the reasons why I always say it and highlight. The more you know about your craft and your topic and your field, the better it is to get your your work across. So that's the dashboard. And yeah, so we have that. Let me just go back here. So that's the dashboard that I just went over. And here are some of the tools that I wanted to highlight for today's presentation. So some of the tools that I have used in the past, obviously, the text generations, most of you know ChatGPT, Gemini. There is a Google Studio in which you can try different models there, very useful. Claude, it's super, super useful for coding and even coding without or prompting without knowing how to code. That's what I did and how I used the dashboard. Perplexity, it's very important and very interesting because it will give you references. So instead of ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude, in which you just write something in the input and it will answer you, Perplexity will answer you. It will give you the output, but it will also give you the reference in which this information is being obtained from. In terms of image creation, Gamma AI, it's an interesting tool. It can, create presentation from scratch, and I'm gonna go over 3 tools in a minute just to show you a quick demonstration. Napkin AI is something that I always recommend. It's very good for creating diagrams. Nano Banana, it's with Google. It's amazing. It's really good for image generation. Canva AI, it's also for creating reports, creating images, PowerPoints. All of them have a free version, but what Rasha mentioned in her presentation, do not share personal information or organizational information. Make sure that you just test the tools, but if you want any tools, make sure that you pay for them. Audio, Suno for music, Notebook LM, I put it under audio because it started with podcasting, and I'll also give you a quick overview. What it's really amazing is that it has done a lot of updates recently, and I'll show you a little bit on that. The script is for podcasting, 11 Labs is for a language generation, and in different also it has so many different languages that you can use for any type of videos or podcasting. Video generation, you have Nano Banana Pro and Vid. Apps, like I said, the Replit, which I use for dashboards, Lovable. It's very simple. It's much simple and cheaper than Replit. So if you want to start with Replit, like I said before, it took me 2 weeks to do the dashboard and it cost me about $700. So it's not a cheap application. Now, Replit is much faster right now because it has an updated version. And so it may be much cheaper and it may take you less days than what it took me when I did the dashboard. Base 44 is another app that I know it's out there for creating apps. And you can not only create apps, but you can also do websites, games, anything that you can think of as an evaluator that you can utilize for data collection or reporting. Chatbots, Boodlebox, let's say that you want all of the LLMs into one place. Well, Boodlebox is your friend for that. It's an AI platform that has the latest models for ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Perplexity, image generators, all of that into one platform. So I strongly encourage all of you to take a look at that. And for academic site space, it's really good if you are writing manuscripts for publications. It's definitely something that I have used in the past and I'm currently using for creating or enhancing knowledge or creativity. Let me just quickly go into Gamma now. So if you want to create something in Gamma, with Gamma, I believe that you can try it for the first 8 slides. Let's see if we want to, I'm just gonna say create a short presentation on logic models. It's gonna generate an outline. And then after after generating this, then it's gonna ask me for generating the PowerPoint. So once again, this is wonderful, but this is not gonna answer all of your problems. You have to read it, you have to double check, you have to test for accuracy. This is just a generic topic of every evaluator world in terms of how to do a logic model. But look at how fast Gamma works. And the different graphs and things like that. But you get the idea. So it keeps, I think it's gonna do 10 slides, so just let it do his magic. There you go. So here, you have like, even with images, things like that, why you want to use a logic model, like the roadmap, theory of change, strategic tool. So once again, you have to take this as a starting point. I don't recommend to download this. And if you're giving a presentation on logic model, just use it without checking. That's a no-no. But it will save you time, definitely, for generating content. Let me see. For Replit, this is what it will look like. This is the backstage of Replit for the dashboard. And on the left side, what I'm moving right now is the different conversations I have had with Replit, which uses Claude, to generate the dashboard. And then you have a preview here, and then you can publish. And this is the link that I use. But at the end, it's going to give you like the project goal, the key features, and all of that. And I cannot lie, it was a lot of mistakes that it made. So I have to like make sure that I did my own analysis and pick and choose what data I wanted to double check, so to ensure that it was doing it properly. That's why it took me 2 weeks full time to be able to get this. And then the last thing is Notebook LM, which is very popular these days. What I'm going to show is that now it has different things, or different I guess the aspects, or traits. You can generate the audio review. If you click here on the little pencil here, you can do like a deep dive or a brief if you're using an audio, right? And you can also use all the languages. And this is for free, by the way. However, whatever information you're uploading, you start this by uploading the information here, then it will put it into this part. We'll kind of like do an analysis of this, and then you can pick and choose whatever you want. But it could, you can do a audio video. With the audio video, you can interrupt the host With the video overview, we'll do an overview of a very innovative video overview. Can also do reports, create quizzes, flashcards, mind maps. And this is the latest one, which is the infographic. I just uploaded one of the classes that I'm going to be teaching at UCF on AI for the workplace, and this is what it came up. Now, once again, I have to read, make sure that it makes sense, but you can do infographics in 1 minute. So the information that you have to put obviously has to be in a Word document or a PDF. Let's say that you do an executive summary and then you just upload it in Notebook LM and ask for an infographic. Here you can choose the language, you can do portrait, square, or landscape, and you can even add more information. So you guide the Notebook LM on what the infographic will look like. So I'm gonna stop here. And I'm gonna stop sharing my screen now because I think, hold on, I think we have more things to cover before we go to. So that will be you, Katy.
All right, thank you, Dr. Concha. So I know that was a lot of information in a few amount of time, but I'm sure that everyone has some key takeaways that they learned about today. If you want to drop in the chat, maybe a couple of words or sentences of what you learned today, and you can also complete the sentence. Keep in mind that AI will not replace you as an evaluator, as we learned today. Instead, it will dot, dot, dot. If you want to complete that sentence in the chat, let's see who comes up with some creative answers. Instead, it will enhance, correct. It will save you time as an evaluator. That is very true. Instead, it's a quick aid with caution. I like that one, with caution. Great job. Increase creativity. That's correct. We have a lot more time now to be creative in our own workplace. It can initiate thoughts. It will not replace you, but it will make the job of an evaluator easier and provide great visuals. That is correct. AI is an assistant to some. Some of you are saying it is a supporter, but don't always rely on it. It makes you more efficient, complements the evaluator's expertise and experience. It will augment and assist, correct? Ethics is one of the most important factors. Allow us to explore new ways of improving your work. I like that. And it allows Maria to see dimensions of problem that she was not able to see herself. That's a really, really good one. Promotes innovation. It is a barefoot companion. Yes, that's a good one. AI takes the task while human takes the responsibility for them. Yes, we do. It distinguishes those who grow and those who will die in a professional death. It pushes them out of your comfort zone. All great answers. Well, it seems like everyone did learn a lot today, and now we have a greater and bigger idea of how AI can help us overall. We do have some time for questions. So I was writing down some of the questions that were being asked in the chat. So I'll go ahead and say the questions, and then Dr. Concha or Rasha, if you want to go ahead and answer them. Someone asked, can they have a copy of the presentation and if they're getting access to the recording?
So I believe that we are able to share the recording. However, the presentation as itself, because we use it for other type of trainings that we do here in the United States, I won't be able to share the entire thing, but I can share like maybe a few slides.
Perfect.
Yes.
Thank you. And then this question's for you, Rasha. Without putting personal data into prompts, it accesses everything on the computer. What do we do? I believe they're talking about security within AI.
Correct. And this is a great question and it's very interesting. This is actually one of my interests for my PhD dissertation, the whole data privacy. So one thing that's important, if you are into cybersecurity, you probably try to read the terms and conditions of all the AI that you use. But if you are a little bit lazy to do that, then let me share with you This is a page, a website that's called Terms of Service Didn't Read. And I can put it in the chat for you guys. But try to search for every AI that you use and try to see what comes up. So, for example, let's search for ChatGPT. We do open AI. So, a couple of points in the terms of services of AI. Your personal data is used for automated decision making, profiling, or AI training. The service might collect, use, and share your location data. Some personal data might be kept for business interests and legal obligation. And it goes on, right? It tells you the bad, the very bad, and the good parts. So try to search for this in every time you're using a different AI. So like we just see tools like ChatGPT terms and policy imply that ChatGPT does have access to some of your data. It's also very ambiguous. It says that it does not have automatic access, but it still has some access to anything on your computer. Um, it also says that it can access your metadata. That means your device and browser info, your IP address, your usage logs. So that is automatic access, isn't it? So the truth is that we don't really know, and we also do not know where the data goes once you have put it in a different LLM. So even if you ask the developers of the AIs, they don't have a clear answers. Also, like some people were mentioning on the chat, if you're using third-party applications, or even if you share links that points to external content, there is risk that those external services can access or use your data or can access your computer in unintended way. So some suggestions when it comes to this, some things we can use is always use a VPN that will hide your IP. It would hide your location. It would kind of like mask who you really are on the internet. You can also use internal or enterprise secure AI tools that have appropriate safeguards. So that means buying your own AI service for your organizations. Also, you can use exclusive local models that are built on your computer, paid by your organization, that are completely disconnected from the internet, so the internet cannot access your data. So try to always use the paid subscriptions, and again, always sanitize different inputs, like remove the name, the addresses, health data, social security service numbers, anything that could identify someone. Never, never, ever upload huge databases. Another thing that I have found useful for ChatGPT is turning off the chat history and training options on your setting. That will reduce the risk of your data being used for the model training. It does not guarantee absolute confidentiality, so you always have to use the right precautions when not exposing too much when using different AIs.
Thank you so much, Rasha. So we do have a lot of questions, so only some of them will be answered for today, just for the sake of time. Someone is also asking if we can have a community of ethical group to provide governance and guide to the content use by AI.
Yes, we can do that. That would be something that we may, enhance collaboration with ideas. And I also wanted to let you know, Katie, that we have to leave a few minutes before we end to talk, to have ideas to kind of like do the final remarks. But yes, that will be something definitely that we can look further.
And another person said that their team is currently working on an AI-supported process to draft a context analysis based on the evaluation TOR. Approximately 70% of the data in their workflow consists of human-prepared context, including various reports and indexes. The deep search agents currently available on the market are completely unsuitable. They have to write their own tool that does not interfere with the content and does not introduce bias. They have been developing this instrument for over 6 months and hope to release it to the public testing within the next 1 or 2 months. However, when they explain the idea to colleagues, the first question they always get is, why not just use Gemini Deep Search? and it is proving almost impossible to explain the core problem.
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. I think that uh, it also depends on the what are the parameters that you put or the limits that you put in your app, right? So when we're creating like a chatbot, for instance, and we are training the chatbot, you have an option in which you can limit the level of creativity, or what is called the temperature of the large language model. So what that means is that it goes from 0 to 2, sometimes 0 to 1. The closer to 0, the less bias and the more straightforward answer will give you. If you have the highest point of that scale, it will give you more creativity. That's where the LLM is going to hallucinate, create more biases and things like that. So there is a way to control that, but it also depends on how well you train the model, what are some of the parameters and the limitations that you use, and what kind of information you put into this as well.
Thank you, Dr. Concha. And then another last question we'll be touching up on before we give it back to ideas. Someone just wanted a bit more clarification on Replit. So they're asking, you asked the AI Claude to create specifically a Replit dashboard app, not just a dashboard app, correct?
Can you repeat that again? Sorry.
You asked Claude to create specifically a Replit dashboard app, not just a dashboard app. So maybe just some clarification on how you use Claude and Replit.
All right, yes, you can do it in both platforms. So for Claude, it will give the actual, LLM Claude, it will give you the same output. I will say that if you use Replit, with Replit, what it does is that it's going to make sure it will give you the actual pilot or prototype. Claude, if you use it as a large language model, it will give you a very simple interface, but there's going to be a point in the interaction that is not going to be that functional. So therefore, Replit, even though it also uses Claude, is going to allow you to have that prototype complete. And I know it was a lot of information on the dashboard. My intention was not for you to regenerate the same dashboard in detail as I did, right? For this example, this is just for you guys to have an idea of what the things that you can do through, when using Replit or when using Lovable, if you want to generate any apps or dashboards. But for me to teach you how to do this, it will take a 2 or 3 hour class. So it's just an overview of the things that you have to, just make sure that you explore the different things that you can do when using this type of applications. And Katie, before we pass it to ideas, can you please send the links, LinkedIn websites and things that for everyone to follow us as well?
Yes, I will be dropping in the chat how you can stay connected with us. So if you have some questions that we didn't answer and you would like answer or just simply keep connected with us, you can follow us on LinkedIn and you'll have access to our website and the UCF website. But other than that, it was so great to share this Zoom room with all you guys, and thank you so much.
I think we have one last question that I think is very important to address. I've seen a couple of times in the chat. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a couple of seconds to address that. So the question was, can we contribute content to the databases AI is trained on? How can we reduce hallucinations? How can we reduce bias? And how could we improve accuracy and reduce these mistakes? So right now, the most large AI models are trained on massive data sets that are collected from the open internet. So us as individuals, users cannot directly upload content into the models that are already trained. But what we can do is we can influence AI in, I would say, three different ways. So one is by building small, so private models with your own organizational data. Again, buying your own subscription for your organization and training that model into your own organizational data that's real, that's backed up, that it does not have hallucinations. So a second way is giving feedback when AI gets something wrong. So when you ask something on ChatGPT, on Claude, and it gives a complete hallucination, just you can tell the model that that's not correct, and the model will try to generate another answer. So the model does take into account whenever a user said that something is incorrect. So doing that can also help reduce hallucinations. And finally, we can create open educational resources, open data sets, and we can put them out on the internet that reflect diverse voices and reflect accurate information. So these steps can help shape future versions of AI that become a little bit more sophisticated and that can be more inclusive, more accurate, and more aligned with real world needs.
Thank you so much, Rasha, for that excellent answer. Great. So we pass it now to ideas.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Rachel. That was really, really impressive conversations. I think the ideas, we are so happy to be part of these collaborations. My hope is that all participants online, and then we can get a chance maybe in the upcoming year to get another opportunity to have a second webinar. That could be good. Indeed, because there are massive number of AI people are talking about and use all the times, and then this is becoming more importantly, and then also taking more space in our life as a work as evaluators. So we too have to go back on that. I also want to acknowledge the participation of our friend Jean-Serge Kesnel. We missed you so long. Jean-Serge, welcome. And then and all the colleagues online. So maybe let's look back on how we can say, get another opportunity in over coming years. And then for sure, we may get better conversation, and also maybe inviting some evaluators, with a practical example, on how they apply those AI into their works as evaluators. So thank you so much, all of you who attend this webinar. And then please, people are asking about have a copy of the presentations. We have get the copy available to them by, I think we can put the link here on the chat, or you can share to the email. That could be good, so that we all have, go to back and see which AI is useful for our job and which one we can select. Thank you so much. Enjoy your times, and let's keep in touch for the next times. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you,
There's so
everyone.
many people. We can't do group photo because there's so many people online, but we can't do a group photo at this time, but that's good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Good presentation.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Gracias. From Mexico.
Gracias.
I'm
Gracias.
from
Thank
Matemal.
you. Thank you.
Desde
Mexico
Nicaragua.
is here.
Gracias.
We have
Nicaragua,
people
saludos.
From Nairobi.
Nairobi.
From Colombia.
Kathmandu, Colombia.
Muchas gracias desde Guatemala.
Oh my God. So all the world was there. More than
Yes.
120 participants. That was great. That's great.
Bye bye, thank you.
Fue todo un éxito este workshop. Muchas felicidades a todos los que participaron y a todos los que colaboraron para que esto se hiciera una realidad. Buen día.
Buenos días.
Bye. I'm from Uganda.
Benson, happy to see you.
Yes, Eric. How are
Happy
you?
to see you. Bye-bye. Peter, happy to see you.
Bye-bye. Happy to see you
Bye-bye.
too.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Adolfo, mi amigo. I said Maria also online. Hey, Maria. Merci, Jean-Marie. Thank you to Jean-Marie for coordinating all this, putting all this together. And then, Jean-Marie is leaving us soon, and then we miss him a lot at the ideas. We're about to welcome a new coordinator on board. Jean-Marie,